So everyone, welcome to the Stupid Horse / Tiny Horse Racing AMA. This is Dean from the Algo Gaming Guild, and we have Aaron on as well. So just before we actually get started, we'll just go through like the format and the way we're gonna run the AMA. So we'll start with introductions, and then afterwards there are a ton of questions that were submitted in our Discord, in one of our Discord channels. So we've taken each of those questions, we've put them into specific categories that we'll go through. I know Thurstober's not feeling super well and has lost her voice a bit, so we'll just play it by ear and see either she'll answer the questions directly on the Twitter space or she will post them into the channel in Discord and I will read out the answers. And then also basically at the end we'll do a random draw for everyone who submitted a question in our Discord, and the prize will be the 2 Tiny Horse 399, which is posted in our announcement channel, and that will be, like I said, a random draw. And then at the end, if we have any time, which I don't think we will, but we can take any other community questions from those who are on. So I think let's get started. Thurstober and Lofberg, I don't know if you want to introduce yourselves, a bit of a background into you, and then also just for anyone who's not aware of your project and the first time joining this space, maybe just give a short overview of the Stupid Horse / Tiny Horse race.
Yeah, so I'm Thurstober. I got involved in Algo NFTs about a year ago now. It was kind of the summer of last year. Stupid Horse started that August. I just wanted to make something really fun, goofy. I was a little frustrated kind of with the seriousness of the NFT ecosystem at the time, so I was just looking to be a pain in the ass, quite frankly. It later evolved into the game it is today. You know, that's kind of a long story that we'll go through. But the goal is for us to have fun. You know, it's more of a casual kind of game. It's RNG based. My personal background is in casino gaming. I was a technical writer for several years. So I wanted to take a lot of those concepts with things like playing video poker at the bar, sitting down at a slot machine, chatting with the people next to you, and try to replicate that in a no-loss way using blockchain.
So I'm Loaf Pickle. I got started around the same time as Thurs. I was checking out my first post on Reddit the other day, and she was actually one of my bidders, so that was pretty cool to see. So I got started. I was always interested in blockchain gaming, but I looked at Ethereum first, and the prices were way too expensive, especially with the gas. And I'm like, why am I going to spend so much money on something that I don't even know if I'm going to like or not? So then I started discovering alternate blockchains and stuff like that, and then I eventually landed on Algo. I really liked it. I really liked the tech behind it. So I started my first series on the Reddit and just messing around, experimenting, and then just seeing the community and just seeing people's passion for art, collectibles, and NFTs helped me realize that this place is legit and this is a place that I could help grow and build on. So I met Thurs through Bears, Bulls, and Whales, which is a free-to-play game on the blockchain. And from there, we just started working together. She started the horses. I liked them. So I bought a few. And then we made the game together. And from there, I just became a super fan. And then with Tiny Horse, I joined the team officially. I've been going, and we've just been going from there. Professional-wise, I'm a project manager. I manage construction in New York City. So I'm overseeing the construction of bridges and stuff. So it helps with the NFT world because it gives me a good sense of where to be organized, how to bang things out logistically, and how to properly manage.
That's some great insight. Thanks, guys. And Lofberg, we're actually also based in New York City. I know a few other people are as well in the space. That's great to hear. So I think if we want to just start, maybe if we can just get a general quick overview of exactly how the Discord game works and how anyone who's listening who's new can get involved.
Do you want to take this one, Pickle? I think you're best at these tiny horse descriptions.
Yeah, sure. So the game itself is very simple. It's a modified dice roll, 1 to 6, and each value of the dice correlates to how many spaces the horse is going to move. So it goes from -2 to 4. To 3, and you start at the 0 line. Since these horses are stupid, they go forwards and backwards. So if your horse goes more than -5, it's ineligible to win. But if it's the first horse to cross 15, then your horse wins, and you earn our utility token, which is called OATS. We currently have 2 game modes. The first is just a regular race. It could be for anywhere from 2 to 4 players, and there's a 1-hour cooldown for tiny horses and a 15-minute cooldown for stupid horses. We also have another alternate game mode called Deathmatch, which is more for the casual player that doesn't have the time to be on there every hour or so, which is basically everything times 6. So a 6-hour cooldown for tiny horses, an hour and a half cooldown for stupid horses, and you also earn 6 times the payouts. And as a little bonus, we increased the bonus modifier for that to 20% compared to the regular 7 in the regular mode.
Great, I think that's a good overview. I know like Aaron and I both actually have quite a lot of horses, and I have a stupid pony that is apparently the most stupid of them all, and has like a 30% deathmatch win rate. But yeah, thanks for the overview. Okay, so I think we have a lot of questions. We have some more serious questions and then some very funny questions at the end, which we've moved to the end on purpose. But I think the first category we'll go through is just how it all got started. So the first one we have is from Discord user Bogenmeister, who said, what was involved in developing your tiny horse racing game? How much time from idea to racing? And then how can I find a dev to help me build a game?
Getting into like what I said earlier, I mean, there's first met on PHX, and we helped run the Discord server for Pierce, who is the founder of it. And we were chatting in our admin channel, and we were like, oh wow, it'd be really funny to race these. And then it was Jetropolis, and he goes, it'd be funny if they go forwards and backwards. And I'm very proficient in Excel, so I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what, I could probably build this in Excel. So I went to work, and in probably like, there was like a day or less, I had the original concept for the game. So we were just playing it. We were just racing each other, just putting our horses in and watching them go backwards and forwards. And then made a few modifications to it, a few improvements and stuff. And then we, on 8/30/21 is when we released it for our utility for our holders. So I would say probably 10 days in total between the idea and then making it a utility function for the holders themselves.
And it was really funny and really stupid, which is entirely on brand. We had bogus advertisements on this spreadsheet. As things went on, we wanted it to become more of an interactive game as opposed to something that we would run administratively. And that's kind of where the Discord bot setup began. I had moved off of PHX to my own Discord, and at that point we started working with a dev to develop the actual game, to kind of take Loaf Pickle's math, the dice sets, and turn it into something playable.
I still can't believe it was originally on Excel. Like I was saying to Aaron earlier that I thought I was good at Excel, but I don't think I could build a horse racing game. But that's amazing and a great way to start. And I know like one of the other questions, which I think I partially answered this, and I think was how do you find a dev to help build a game? So anyone who's listening and needs a dev to build a game, like you can reach out to me under Argon in our Discord server or Aaron as well, and we generally can like either tag a bunch of the devs, and we also do intend on opening up like a job/search for a dev channel in our Discord probably by the end of the week. So just wanted to answer that one. Okay, then the next question we have, which the question was asked by Alex Roy and then also by Sassonamam. I don't think I said that right, but anyway, what was the original inspiration behind the game?
It was really just having fun for the most part. We just thought it would be funny, and we decided to make it. And then just going from there, we saw the reception. and we just figured, you know what, this is really fun for us. Everything was administrative, so it's tough. That's one of the things that we've kind of realized as a project itself. It's really hard to satisfy all the time zones in the world, especially from our end as well. So by making it into the 24/7 bot, anybody could play at any time with any horse they own, which was kind of the main concept that we really wanted to portray. So that way, anybody who buys you can have one horse, you can have 100 horses, but every single one can be raced against other holders.
Perfect. Then we have a question from Rich Low Presti, who said, you're an OG project and your origins were on Reddit before Discord. When did you sell your first NFT, and how long before that was the idea created?
So my first NFT period, it would have been around June. It was kind of a fantasy series I was experimenting with. I had made a couple others that did not sell at all. Unfortunately, they're relics now, 15 of 15 mints. But the first I had sold was like a fantasy mermaid kind of character. I'd wanted to do a text-based RPG. But, you know, it was a really cool time to just learn about NFTs, period. Everything was a lot smaller. Everything was a little bit more intimate back then.
Yeah, I can imagine. We're kind of jealous that we weren't in the space that early. Okay, the next question we had, which is from BRAD, and then I guess Rich Low asked sort of the same question, like why specifically horses and why are they stupid and tiny?
So I have a stupid sense of humor. I use that to describe, I love slapstick comedy, kind of Looney Tunes, anvils falling on people, things that don't necessarily make sense. And then in terms of animals, I love a good stupid looking animal. I think horses can be really majestic, or they can look really ridiculous, like mouths open, teeth all over the place, kind of the way that like a corgi can look. And so it's not like I'm a huge horse person in real life. They're just one of those particular animals that can go one way or another for me. And at the time, I mean, we have a whole zoo now. What animals are not represented on blockchain? But at the time, I didn't know of any other horses. So there you go.
I know you said you're not really a big horse person, but do you actually ride horses?
I have never ridden a horse. I would like to one day. I'd probably start with a pony so I don't hurt myself. But we can go from there.
Great, super ironic. I love it.
Okay, so the next category we have, which is just like about you guys and the business, like a little more about that. So Rich Low Presti asked, are the horses your sole focus and passion at the moment?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I love this series, and I think that's why I can work on it constantly, because it's fun. There are logistical kind of things that aren't necessarily as fun, you know, planning times and everything like that, and trying to satisfy everyone. But at the core, I like to wrap up in a fuzzy blanket, hop on my iPad, and make a stupid looking horse doing something, getting hit in the face with the ball, getting shred up in a blender. Like, it's fun. Very fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, question from Rach said, you guys work tirelessly on this project, always on the tracks, always chatting, creating new art and bots, etc. in the background. How do you balance that with your own personal mental health and other responsibilities to avoid burnout?
So my sleep sucks. I have 4 children. I do a lot of my NFT work in the early morning or at night. Something that has helped with this project, I think, because it's inherently goofy, it is something that my kids enjoy to do with me. I always have them preview the horses. I take their ideas. My 3rd grader, at the beginning of his school year, he said, my mom makes stupid horses, and I would love to know what that teacher was thinking when she read that. But I think it really helps to have the familial kind of support. And then I enjoy the chat. I mean, I think that with the humor of it and kind of the slow but organic growth, it's drawn a lot of people who I genuinely enjoy as people.
Yeah, for me, it's tough. I mean, the NFT space and running a project and everything like that, it's very time consuming, and I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges for creators themselves is finding the balance between working on your NFTs and then not having it affect your in real life scenario. For me personally, I've cut back more on like just general chat in other areas and just focusing more on the project itself. It was hard keeping up with everything. I luckily over time I've developed a lot of close contact and friends here, so I mainly focus to smaller projects now and consolidated my holdings a little bit. And overall, I think we have such a nice community on the server itself that I'm able to just catch up with a lot of stuff just word of mouth itself, and that's really helpful.
Yeah, I think you guys have an amazing community. Your general chat is like always fun. I know, like, one of the things, just adding on to what you said, that like I do sometimes I'll just say to Aaron, I'm gonna just not look at Discord for the day because trying to keep track of all the gaming projects becomes a lot. So that tends to help. Okay, so another question from Rage: what's the best advice that you would pass on to new or old projects?
I read this and I think my answer is a little cliched, but I think you need to be yourself, whether that's your sense of humor or your art style, because I think if you're not being yourself, you can only keep that up for so long and have enthusiasm for it for so long. You know, I think what I make can occasionally be polarizing because someone doesn't want a horse with, you know, mutant eyeballs on it or its tongue sticking out or something like that. But it makes me laugh and it means I can come up with ideas easier. You know, I have more ideas than what I can make in a day or a week or 2 weeks or months, you know, and I think that's a byproduct of just saying, you know what, some people aren't going to be into this, but some people are, and that's awesome.
I would say my biggest piece of advice is that running an NFT project is no longer a one-person job, and just being able to recognize that and ask for help will help out a lot of projects as well. I know it's tough finding people, but I always recommend to go within and find people that are passionate about your project as you are, because those would be the most likely ones to help add value and add community to your project.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. Next question is from Richlow Presti and said, what's most rewarding to you as a result of the project that you didn't expect?
I think it's 100% the community. I'm so pleased with the community that has sprung up. I'm amazed on the daily by the generosity, us all looking out for each other. It just makes me feel like the world is a good place. That sounds kind of hackneyed, but it's you know, I just love the community, truly.
I agree. I think the community is one of the best parts. I also like how just in the Discord itself, we don't hide the chat behind holder only channels for the most part. Majority of our conversations are in general, so I feel like that's really welcoming for new people into the space or new people interested in the project because they're able to see what we're talking about in real time, and it's just that accessibility, that model that we're really trying to push forward and just have everything open and inviting.
I think that makes sense. Question from Yomo: how has not having a buy the book roadmap helped your project?
So I can understand the need for roadmaps generally to show a direction. I think for me, it would make me feel more boxed in. I think that I need to be able to pivot quickly depending on the needs that we see for the game. I think one example where anyone who has been playing with us for a while, I've wanted to do items. Items add complexity. We currently are trying to do things like a promo video, do this AMA to help people understand the ease of the game. So to me, it doesn't make sense to include super complex items. So in the meantime, we've done things like jackpots where players don't need to do anything. There's a background rule to determine if you win a jackpot. We're going to do things like staking. So when people are on vacation this summer doing whatever, you can still do something with your horse. And I think back, if I had stuck to saying, let's do items and let's do this no matter what, I think it would have been the wrong move.
I agree, and I think too we kind of came to a middle ground that we're happy with, which is the we do like 1 month look aheads where we kind of just say, hey, look, these are the areas we want to focus on for the next month, and just gives the holders and anybody interested in the series just a little glimpse into what we're looking to do, so that way it's just not like update after update, and it gets a little too convoluted to transfer information. So we feel like that 1 month look ahead is a good balance between promising things that are feasible and being able to pivot on the fly if we need to.
Yeah, I think we personally like the 1 month look ahead that you guys release. It's always good to see what's coming up in the short term. I know we do have a bunch of questions, everyone asking about the long term future, which we'll get to, but I think that's definitely helpful. Okay, so the next category is a lot more like game specific questions. So the one from ESL Jones says, I'm just learning about this project. Do Stupid Horse, Tiny Horse, and Two Tiny Horse all compete in the horse races? Are more types of horses, 3 Tiny Horse, etc., planned for the future?
Yeah, so all the horses are raceable, including the pony. So the pony can only be one if you hold the Stupid Horse, and you win a Stupid Race final, which is our administrative event every other week. So there's only 26 minutes of the year, but they're like the best horse you could own, basically. But yeah, any tiny horses and 2 tiny horses both have standard 1 hour cooldowns, and Stupid Horses, based on them being the Gen 1 series and limited mints, those have a 15-minute cooldown, helping to add to the value if you're really looking to earn notes.
Great. So now the next question, I think Lopick, you already answered in our Discord, but we can talk about it anyway. It was from Yosha and said, will you open the horse races and tournaments for every horse holder? We need at least 5 to race so far, which I know you only need 1, right?
Yeah, you only need 1, and yes, you can race any holder with any horse. That's already done.
Okay.
I think an important thing to note is so all of them can race, other than Stupid Speedway. Everything is open to everybody, but they're slightly different in terms of volatility. Argon, I think you can see that with your pony. That's a high volatility kind of model where you get a crazy long, very punishing kind of cooldown, but can also win a ton of OATS. Stupid horses are kind of your low volatility. You can run them every 15 minutes and just throw them wherever. It's no big deal. And then the tiny horses and the 2 whinies are the middle ground.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like the Stupid Pony is an example for anyone who's listening. Like I get 1,800 oats winning a death match, and then sometimes there's multipliers, and like won 9,000 oats the other day, but also I don't think I've won a race in the last 5. Okay, so I think that's helpful. The next one was from Linux64, said, what happens if a Stupid Pony wins a Stupid Race final, and then what happens when that new horse wins?
I think this is a really fun question because this has not happened yet. I think what I would do in that scenario is when Stupid Horse was being released, I would have traits that were available on certain weeks before being retired. I would look back at the parent horse's drop, I think, and then just re-roll for every category.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. That'll probably look pretty cool too.
I think it would be fun because you would see ponies that you would otherwise not see represented by any parent. I think it could be really fun.
Yeah, no, that's true. Next one we have is from Richlow Presti, said, what do you think is holding back more people from entering the stable? Is it a lack of people? Have you considered racing on another blockchain or multi-chain racing?
So I think I've been around a while. I'm a known entity. The horses are a known entity. It's been slow and steady growth, but it's not the kind of thing where I'm going to do a 2-iney drop and you're going to get really lucky and have a 20x kind of sale overnight. I think that we have a lot of retention, which slows down our secondary market. And that's something I'm comfortable with as a creator because it means people are playing, people are holding. But I think that if you're looking at metrics and something that could be potentially something unattractive to people who aren't playing the game. Some people also don't know there's a game. I'm trying to get out information about it, but at the beginning of Stupid Horse, there was no game. It wasn't advertised as a game.
Yeah, that's very true. But I think you have a lot of retention just because of how fun the games are and stuff like that. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I also think that the transmittal of information is one of the hardest things as well. Just being able to, we have a lot that's built into the series itself, and getting all that information out is somewhat challenging because we are close to the source. We know everything that's going on, but it's tough to understand the perspective of somebody new and when they first enter. So that's one of the areas this month that we're really trying to refocus on, refocus and just put some attention onto onboarding and being able to explain the purpose of the project and what it means if you own a horse.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And then in terms of the blockchain, I've never considered any blockchain. I think this would be completely infeasible somewhere else. I mean, just in terms of minting inexpensive one-of-ones, of getting information back as fast as I need to. I can't imagine having to pay gas for an OATS payout or anything like that. I just don't think that it could be functionally the same anywhere else or affordable.
Yeah, I think we agree with that. Like when I saw this question as well, I think it would be a bit difficult to do it as multi-chain as well, and I don't think it would be that beneficial. So there's a question here from Kimbula: when horse stat reset?
So with that, a market has actually developed for unraced horses. It was kind of a byproduct of the way the data system worked. So when you buy a horse, it will carry over the name and the stats from the previous owner. So you could go on our website and you could scat out a horse and you could see the previous stats for that horse. But as a byproduct, unraced horses became a premium because as more horses got raced, the scarcity of the unraced horses went down. So now people are paying a premium for the unraced horses, and it would be a shame, in my opinion, because I am one of those people who bought unraced horses, to have to basically, it would be like something like where if you change the rarity out of nowhere, people would be annoyed because they bought something based on the rarity aspect of it. So we kind of view it in the same light as that.
Yeah, I think you also have there's probably people whose horses have had very good RNG and have great stats, and they don't exactly want that reset. So I definitely get it.
It's my nickname. She's a killer. She's a killer. We did it just in this recent update. I mean, this was 2 days ago. I've been sick, so the days are blurring together. But until web staking is live, that's something you'll be able to do with your unraced horses without affecting your stats. I do have a freeze asset command, so in your drop downs, it would be easy to fat finger a horse and accidentally race something you've been trying to preserve. You would have to move it to another wallet. Now you don't have to.
Yeah, so you guys had that. I think it's a really good idea. Okay, so next question is from Mooley and said, is there anything that you would go back and change?
So for me, I racked my brain on this one. No. It would have been nice to make it to about 400 stupid horses, but at the same time, it would have diluted some of the final traits. I love what I've made. I love what we've made. I'm really passionate about it, and even the misses are a learning experience.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's hard to say, go back and think of what you could change. But as of right now in the present, I'm very happy of where we brought this project. So I guess the answer would be no.
Sounds good. Richard Presti has a question. How did you form a partnership with the Popcorn Lounge? I think this is one of the best kept secrets of your project. Shrimp betting on the horse races and tournaments.
So this shrimp actually started within PHX. Tim P was one of our early supporters, and he came into PHX. He loved the Pesci Nanas, and he loved the horses. And then he hit up Ian Pierce, who was the runner of PHX, and he brought us onto the shrimp team. And then the shrimp team got expanded to the grocery store team as well. And then I actually ran the first couple of airdrops for shrimp. And then from there, Wes, who runs, I think it's called Cavanera Systems. He does a lot of airdrops just for the ecosystem itself. And they're really cheap too. So if you're ever looking for an airdrop, Wes is the person to go to. But just from that relationship within building the shrimp, and then once the shrimp are actually built and the whole gamified system behind it, the Stupid Horse Final was one of the first utility functions for shrimp itself. So we actually got asked if we could create a channel in their Discord, and then from there, each week on Thursday we declare who the 4 finalists are, and then on Monday the race happens, and then after that, people who bet their shrimp on the race. I'm sorry, it's no loss now. Originally it wasn't, but now it is. So now it's no loss. All you gotta do is just guess which horse is going to be coming in last and the final order, and you can win free shrimp based on that.
Great. I like the additional aspect it adds on top of the stupid race. So it's pretty cool. Okay, next category is just NFTs, OATS, and shuffles. There's a question from Algo Pod and Air Pyro that said, "When is the next shuffle? I need more horses."
I wish I could give you an exact date. The last drop was pretty recent, so I was supposed to take a break. It has not worked out because I say it and then I'll install a game and do nothing with it. So I'm right in the middle of making traits right now. So it'll be maybe 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Just to expand on that a little bit, with each drop we do a different theme. So it's not going to be the same type of traits that you would see in the previous one. The first theme was a nautical theme, seahorse for if you want the pun. The second theme was based around food. The third theme is going to be based around sports ball. So basically, with each drop, it's like we're creating its own mini series within the two tinies with each drop.
That's great. At least everyone can get different looks in each release. So that's nice. So then there's a question from Charles Spirit who said, "I've come across a lot of people who wish they could have any of the horses, but there seems not to be any exclusive shuffle for newcomers. Will there be any in the near future?"
So this is a tricky issue. It's very hard to prevent people from gaming the system. We've learned this with our website shuffles as well. We see people that come in, they try to enter 6-7 times with different wallets and stuff. So you can't just easily do an indexable wallet verification and then go through there. It's a more manual process than that. So we're trying to think of solutions because we do want to be able to get horses into new holders' hands. And I think that's one of the best ways to expand the community and to expand the project itself. But as of right now, the bad make things a lot more harder because not everybody's willing to play fair. So we're trying to think of ways to get around that.
Okay. Next question from Beta Flip is the next shuffle going to be done the same way as the last one?
So we're probably going to keep the OATS pass and the website shuffle. One of the things that we're likely going to do is have 2 different drop times for the shuffle in order to help accommodate time zones. We originally did it at one time, but based on some feedback after the last drop, we're going to try to break it up a little bit more. And another thing we're thinking about doing is limiting it to 2 passes per person instead of 3 to help for a better distribution with it.
That makes sense. It all sounds like really good ideas. Then there's a question here from Coke and Rice. Why was the bacon trait retired?
Tragically, it is a food drop kind of item, so I went ahead and retired it. I will miss the bacon mustache as well.
Yeah, we'll miss it too. I think it's a really cool looking trade. There's a question from Buster Hawk. If you could delete one trade from the collection, what would it be?
I can't think of any I would delete. One thing from STUPIDHORSE, I would do random rolls to retire different things. So I retired certain traits way earlier than I would have preferred. There's a curls hairstyle that I loved, a Dumb and Dumber hairstyle that I loved that were retired too soon. The hockey mullet stayed around a long time. I think most hockey mullets stay around too long. But in terms of deletion, I don't think I would get rid of anything.
Okay, next question is just around oats. This is from Caffits and said, what utility is there for oats and can we feed them to horses?
So right now the oats are used more as a redemption system for we use them for the OATS, which is our whitelist spot, which is probably the main factor for the series right now, especially as the series grows and expands. We also have the farmers market, where we set up NFTs that are purchasable, so other projects can donate their NFTs, give it to us, and then we'll advertise the NFTs in our channel that players can use to cash in on. We also offer 2 tiny horses for oat sales. Those are a little bit pricier. And then our top thing is theirs will actually make you a custom horse if you have enough oats, and that's really cool. We've done a couple so far, and all the people who've redeemed them have been very happy with their buys.
I think I also like the fact that you guys do the escrow wallets with, I think it's 9 horses if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I did because I have a lot. I really love the series, but I wanted to be able to share them without actually having to sell them. So what I came up with was a scheme where we have a role called Rancher, which is if you own 10 plus horses. We have multipliers built into the game too. So if you own less than 10, you get a 2 times multiplier. But once you get 10, it turns into a 3 times, and it turns into a 5 times on like special events and stuff. But so I wanted to give people the experience of being a rancher without having to spend the amount of algo needed to become a rancher. And it was a really cool way of creating a try before you buy system. And we really like that we were able to incorporate that basically as a game function itself. And every week on Saturday and Sundays, I host two auctions, one on each day, and players can bid their oats and take control of the wallet for a week. So it allows a nice way for people to enter without actually having to lay down any algo.
Awesome. So I think the next category we have is future plans. So the first question we have is from Z Hamster. What are the long-term goals or visions for the project? And then she also said, if you have my 2 cents, Tiny Horse could be a top-tier branding material.
So long term, I want to have web integration. I don't want to move all the way over to the web because I think the chat aspect of this and the community aspect is really, really essential. If you're playing in a vacuum, it's not as fun as when you have people memeing and gifing and cracking jokes or talking trash in a friendly way, friendly trash talking. But I think it would be, especially for larger tournaments, to have people at least able to view and engage on the web, because if you can't play, you might as well watch. I'm working on merch now. That's something that I would like to build out long term because I'd prefer nice merch, embroidery kind of stuff. There's going to be web staking. I mean, it's hard to fathom much longer than the next 2 years or so, but I can't imagine stopping on this. I mean, you'd have to kill me or have Algo go to 0.
Well, Algo doesn't go to 0.
Or that no one kills you.
Please don't.
it's hard to really plan out long term as well, because there's so many good ideas that come to us via the community or just via ourselves as we continue to expand on the series. So, like originally we were supposed to have a game called Stampede, which was going to be our first iteration, but then we're like, oh wait, we could just have the race drop the OATS, and then we went that route. So, it's really hard to really plan out more than like these big milestones that we want to hit in time eventually, because in between there's a lot of like little small features that we just think of, and it helps add to the experience. Like the jackpot, for example, would be one of them.
Yeah, we love the jackpot. Except I think I won one of the really early minor ones, and then like I know the major was what, like 40,000 OATS the other day.
Yeah, no, like, but that's the beauty of RNG too, because based on the math, the expected should be 14,000.
Okay.
It's the 1 in 5,000 chance for the major, and just to summarize the things up, 14,000 is when the average should hit. But with RNG, things in the sample itself, things can be anywhere from, it could be hit at 1,500, which is the minimum it will be, or it could go all the way up to 40,000 or more. So it's really interesting to see how short they last sometimes and how long they last sometimes.
Yeah, I found myself, as soon as the major jackpot gets like pretty large, I find myself going and racing my horses way more often, and sort of like remembering to do it. But yeah, that's great. And then I know we said that it's a bit hard to look long term, but one of the other questions we had was from Rich Lopez. You said, where do you see the project in 5 years from now?
I mean, hopefully the moon.
Yeah, I mean, bigger and better. I don't see not working on horses, and we'll see where the tech is at the time. I mean, it's amazing to think of where we are today compared to 1 year ago, and a year is not a very long span of time. But just everything on Algo, DeFi, the tools available to us now, I can't imagine, but we're going to learn it and we're going to integrate it, and I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things too is how blockchain technology scales within more user bases. So I think the ecosystem as a whole is going to look a lot different just based off of more people adopting the technology. And that's one of the areas that we're really trying to focus on is ease of use. Because after you register your wallet, you could theoretically play our game without ever having to know that you're interacting with the blockchain again. And that's one of the things that we really built into the project, is that onboarding for people who've never used crypto before.
Yeah, I think I also we like the fact that you guys allow a person to only get your OATS in your wallet whenever you want to, sort of thing. Which I think, and this is like actually a question we brought up on all the other AMAs we've had, because there's other games that we play, when I'm not going to name games, but where like I'm constantly getting transactions in my wallet that are theoretically taxable. But with your guys' game, you can sort of withdraw your OATS whenever you need to, which I think is helpful, and a lot of games should consider in general. So,
and I think it's fun because it's a queue system. Like, we have our feedback, which is, it's a Discord database that holds your OATS, but you can use them without having to do a clawback transaction, without having to take anything out of your actual wallet. So you kind of skip that step.
Yeah, even from a project perspective, if we were dropping after every race, we're roughly at 140,000 races right now. So if every race dropped an OAT, we'd bet 140 algos spent. So by having the database, it really helps in terms of just reducing down overhead. And the less transactions you have, the less overhead, and it really makes the project more efficient in terms of monetary.
Yeah, no, I agree. That makes sense. Okay, next question is from Z Hamster, who said, I know items are on the pipeline, but do you have any other ideas for spicing up gameplay or adding other dimensions? Example, any form of strategy or player input?
So that goes along with the items that we were talking about earlier. But the only reason why we really pulled back in terms of staking was because of the summer vacations and just the feedback we received on just people perceiving the game to be more complex than what it actually is. So, but the items will definitely create a more strategic element to the gameplay itself. Things that we had planned were items that affect on start, track modifications, and then like projector, like if there's let's say, a spike strip, you could have rubber boots that are impenetrable by the spikes, so that way your horse doesn't get affected by the item that's on the track itself. So yeah, we do plan on adding more strategic elements. Right now we're just focusing on the communication and the simplicity behind the project, as that's some of the main feedback we received at the time.
Yeah, that's great. Question from Coke and Rice. Any more horse events during racing planned?
So I kind of always want to do these. I would like to do something more structured. We recently had a GIF off hour. It was hosted by Tsunami, one of my favorite people, with some of the best horse names around. But it was just everybody racing at once, all in one room, everybody chatting, everyone dropping GIFs. I'd like to do that every week. Ideally. I think we're still figuring out a schedule because there are a lot of time-based things that we do just in terms of the admin race. There's a race off for a tournament spot every Wednesday night. We recently changed that to 7 p.m. Eastern to try and accommodate more people. So figuring out where it fits in the schedule. But yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think the community would love that. Next question we had from Beta Flip is, do you have any plans on opening a race channel in a different server?
So right now that's sort of difficult for us, just based on you need 4 players to enter the race. So if we start opening them up in other discords, and it would create less long queue times within our discord for the races, and we kind of want to keep things moving at a pretty decent pace for the queue time, so that way people can enter their horse, just wait there for a couple of minutes, and then watch the horse race. So I feel like if we stretch the project out too much onto Discord servers, you're going to see longer lines in our Discord itself.
Yeah, and I think your guys, like you were saying before, like yours is very much about all the community in one place and chatting and stuff like that. So like segmenting the community probably wouldn't be good. So I agree on that. So then there's 2 questions here which go hand in hand. One from Gaming Toops, who said, any plans for a full standalone app or game? And then Ozov said, is there any plan to move the Discord game over to the website instead?
So we touched on this a little bit. It will never be moved entirely over to the website. It will be supplemental. I think it will enhance the Discord game, but it won't become web exclusive. I can't see that working out and being able to maintain the community and the chat or anything like that. And I think we would face that same problem with a mobile app.
Yeah, I'm a primarily mobile user, so it would be hard for me to play specifically if we were to move fully to like a web-based game. Discord and like the way it's currently set up, I could play on my phone all day long, and it's just ease of use. And the community aspect, I think, is one of the main reasons why we've gotten to this point so far. So we'd be kind of shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit if we went full web app.
Yeah, I think your guys' one is very easy to play on Discord in the first place, so there's no real, not a huge benefit for making that move across. I agree. We have a question from B-Rad. Are there any plans to expand to other collections or allow track takeovers from other projects?
So yes, I would like to do this when the game is done. In my written response, I have done in quotation marks because it is never truly done, but there are certain milestones I want to hit, like the implementation of items, making sure web staking is there. I want a more complete version of the game before we move to that point. And then in terms of the technicals, our holder bot and the race bot are completely intertwined. You can see that when you do your my stats. I mean, that's the data that we use in the races. So to facilitate this, it would be a bit of a restructuring to pull those 2 things apart, if that makes any sense. And I think it's most sensible to do that when the rest of the game is more ready.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. So we have a question from Wazanet Carbide, which says, are there any future collaborations or crazy new developments you can share with us? And then Yosha also asked about collabs.
So I don't know about crazy. I love collaborations. It's something that I'm much more able to do now with Too Whiny coming out bit by bit. I have one with you guys. Thank you. I'm so excited. Algo Gaming Guild. Absolutely jazzed. I have one coming up with Algo Yeti, NFT trade, Linglings. I need to talk to Tim a little bit more about the concept, but I think it's going to be really fun. I think a cool thing about Linglings is it reminds me a lot of like turn-based kind of sprites moving forward and backward. I'd like to do an animation like that, so it looks like the Tiny is about to go into battle or something.
That sounds awesome.
I can't wait to see Algorand as well, and the others.
Another collaboration we're doing more on the marketing side is working with Donger, and he's going to help us make an ad in order to show the game and show how simple it is to use. So we're collaborating in other ways as well. But just in general, if any artist is looking to collaborate with us, just reach out to Thurstober for anything art related or me for anything community related, and we'll try to work with you as much as possible.
Sounds great. Okay, so now we get on to the fun questions, which I think some of them are ridiculous, but we're happy to ask them. Okay, so the first one's from Z Hamster. Are you really incorporated?
So no, soon TM.
Okay, so then from Randy L said, what music did High School Degenerates, Loaf Pickle, and Thurstober listen to?
I'll do this one first. I'm really curious what Loaf Pickle says. So I'm a huge Tool fan. I was then. I still am now. Just thinking about them, I will probably blow through 2 albums later today. I loved kind of emo Jack Off Jill. I liked more techno with The Prodigy. I liked Godsmack. And then I listened to a lot of Nina Simone, which doesn't necessarily go with the others, but I have eclectic tastes elsewhere, so why not in music?
My music taste has always been kind of weird. My dad was like really into metal, while my mom was like really into like Whitney Houston. So that's what I kind of grew up on for a while. In my teen years, I was like a Warped Tour kid, so I used to listen to a lot of emo, a lot of rock, a lot of screamo music, and I also listened to a lot of techno back then too. So yeah, my music taste is all over the place.
Nice. These are great answers. I can imagine how relaxing it must be to do artwork to Tool music.
I love it. I get all wrapped up in a blanket and I have my tablet and my earbuds in and it's awesome.
No, that's great.
Then another question from Randy L is, if you were a horse, what sound would you make?
I mean, my voice is pretty messed up right now, so maybe like a goblin-y horse kind of, I have no idea. Yeehaw. Yeehaw.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, then from Z Hamster, which horse is each of your favorites?
This was so hard. So Maybelline, who has killed many horses. She has one of my favorite hairstyles. She has the space buns. And then Omen 3D did a print of her for me, and I have some pictures up on Twitter. I'll probably take some more, but it's just amazing to look at. And then Lucille Floof is a Tiny, and she's kind of my fancy alter ego. So those would be my 2 favorites.
Love it.
Mine are probably Puffy Hoof and Puffy Poof. They were like some horses, and they have like matching names. They have a whole backstory about how they're evil. One's evil, and the other one is not evil, and they battle each other all the time. So a bunch of lore between some of my horses, and it's just fun how like stupid some of the things we do are, but it just makes everything so much more fun.
And Huffy is horse 69. That's important.
Oh yeah, this is very important information.
I bought for 42 Algo.
Oh no!
That's amazing. Okay, then kind of the same thing, but I guess more based on names. Alex Roy asked, what is your favorite horse's name?
There are so many. This is so hard. So, Help, I've Fallen, and I Can't Giddy Up. That's one of Tsunami's. Loaf Pickle has a good one, even though I hate this horse. I hate it when he wins. His name is Dimitri Mahogany Vandermark, aka the DMV, and he totally looks like a bureaucrat if you look at him.
I swear, the most horses die when they face it.
I know, I love and hate that horse. He's very memorable. You would never forget him. There's Professional Race Loser, which I really enjoy. Oh gosh, Randy has a really good one about a grandma being possessed by Billy Baldwin. You remember that one in full? Maybe Randy can type it in chat. Is Randy listening? Randy's not listening. You suck, Randy. That's a good one. I mean, there are just so many. Many creative names.
There are. I love Hashin's names with Mistress Kink, Nippy Nicole, Dirty Pirate Hooker.
Trailer Trash Mama.
The Trailer Trash Mama, yeah, you got Penis Wrinkle.
Penis Wrinkle, yes.
The legend on the tracks. But,
yeah, no, Sailor Penis. Penus.
It's and there's so many quotes too to these horses. So not only is it the names, sometimes you just read the bios, or you see somebody post a screenshot of a horse on Twitter or something like that, and then you read the quote behind it, and you're just like, oh my god.
I feel like at the end of the project, if it ever had to end, we should start like a My Little Pony series, but with all the horses and their lives with all these stupid names.
Can you imagine what Penis Wrinkle's cutie mark would look like? Maybe I don't want to imagine that. Never mind.
Okay, so the next question we have, and I guess this is asking you, Thurstober, specifically, but Rich basically said, what would you do if you couldn't slap Loaf Pickle?
I would be very sad, and I think I would have to release stress in a more healthy way.
Okay, then...
No, I mean, Loaf Pickle is great at taking a joke. I think that's why we work well together. Pardon my language, I've already said penis wrinkle, so it's kind of too late, but we give each other shit all the time, and it's all in good fun. You know, it makes it easy to work together.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I see someone just slapped Loaf Pickle in your server.
Perfect.
Okay, then a very important question from Alex Roy. Are oats organic? Curious horses want to know.
No, they're made out of bites.
Okay, then Buster Hawk wants to know, do stupid horses sleep?
No, that's probably why they're stupid.
Good point. Then from Soodle, is it true that the nipples on tiny horses are sculpted after the one and only Loaf Pickles? If it is not true, where did the inspiration come from?
It is not true. I imagine Loaf Pickle has little tiny pickle-shaped nipples. I hope that's not true. Now, I thought it would be funny because I don't know what actual horse nipples look like, but I can presume they are not like human nipples. So I thought it would be kind of inappropriate and funny.
It's true. Now I actually can't figure out what they look like. That's a great question.
I'm not going to Google image search it because it'll ruin it. It would absolutely ruin the mystique.
Oh no, Alexa's going to have fun with that if you had to search it.
Oof.
Then I guess this fits in with Decipher being in Dubai, but Mang just wants to know, when camel racing get that Middle Eastern audience?
So I like making different horse derivatives. We've had zebras. I'm going to bring the zebras back in 2-liney. I can see doing a camel, just giving a horse a hump. Why not? I'd like to have a Pegasus, more unicorns. If it has hooves, I will probably give it a shot.
Nice. And then the last question we have is from Randy Owl, who said, any plans to sponsor or buy a real live racehorse?
I think it would be so fun to sponsor a horse and name it something horrible. In terms of actual horse ownership, that sounds like a lot of responsibility and poop, so no.
Okay, that sounds good. So I think we're going to do the draw now for the winner of the Too Tiny. In the meantime, while we do the draw, is there anyone else who would like to come up from the audience and just ask any questions just for a few minutes? But otherwise, we'll run the draw. Okay, Elgato, let me add you as a speaker.
Hi.
Hey, we can hear you.
Quick question. When jockeys?
I would love jockeys.
So this was an idea you had a while back ago, and the one thing I said in your Discord is like, one thing about Tiny Horse is like they've promised nothing and delivered everything. But like one thing that was tossed around way back in the day, it feels like, was like the idea of jockeys. Are you still exploring that idea at all?
So I would love this. I think part of my hesitance is that Stitch Bob is going from animal to human, and I would hate to do the exact same thing. So I was joking last night, maybe the jockeys are chickens or something. So I would still like to do jockeys, but maybe in a slightly different way than I had considered before.
Okay, good to hear. That'd be cool because, like you guys mentioned, like the tech development and stuff like that. Like, who knows? Maybe down the line, like you could add your jockey to your horse, and it actually like does something for your horse or something like that. That'd be so cool.
I love that. I think it would be hilarious.
I thought you could just model all the jockeys off of a loaf pickle.
Nobody wants that.
That's all my questions. Thanks for answering these today, guys. It's been really, really awesome to hear you guys.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm glad to be here, and Algo Gaming Guild is awesome. I DM'd Argon earlier, and we needed this so bad. We needed a cat herder, and you guys have done it.
We're happy to do it. We absolutely love working with all the games in the ecosystem. Like, it's such a good community of developers and project teams. So we've had a lot of fun doing everything we do so far.
There's real family vibes with all the developers and the community. Yeah. It's great.
Okay, so if no one else has any other questions, we ran the draw, and the winner is Kimbula, who I don't know if they're on, but we can DM them to get it set up. So
they're in the chat.
Kimbula. But otherwise, I think, that's all the questions we had. Thank you so much to Thurstober and Low Pickle for joining. We've had a lot of fun asking the questions, and also thanks to the community for all the questions you submitted. I think it's the most we've ever had submitted, so it was great fun, and we hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a great time, and it's great to answer these questions, and if you have any more, let me know.
Yeah, I'm also glad your voice pulled through and we didn't have to write the answers out.
It worked out. It's I timed taking Dayquil at the right time, and it all worked out.
Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.